get up every day and I realize I'm not in control of this whole thing. And no matter what happens, I just ask for the grace to be able to deal with it.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness.
My special guest tonight is a Hollywood superstar, dynamic, versatile, and gold dust at the box office. Welcome, please, Mel Gibson.
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 Did Hollywood blacklist Mel Gibson for daring to speak out about an elite pedophile ring? These shocking claims have been making the rounds. But is there any truth behind them? Find out the details you won't believe.
Steve! Move it up! One seat!
Yeah, I won't make good decisions for you. I was on a four-wheeler in a kilt with long hair, just like...
Nice house, huh? I bet I could hit that house from here. So much. Yeah.
Social media is abuzz with quotes attributed to Mel Gibson, where he allegedly exposes Hollywood elites as pedophiles. One widely shared quote states, "Hollywood is an institutionalized pedophile ring, bought and paid for with the blood of innocent children." But are these claims true? Social media users have been sharing content online that attributes a quote exposing Hollywood elites as pedophiles to actor Mel Gibson. Some posts use this quote, "Hollywood is an institutionalized pedophile ring. It is a den of parasites who feast on the blood of children. Every studio in Hollywood is bought and paid for with the blood of innocent children." The comment seems to stem from an article originally published on newspunch.com, previously Your Newswire. The article claims that Gibson explained to guests in a green room after appearing on The Graham Norton Show about the real nature of Hollywood elites. Who is Mel Gibson?
This warrior poet has given us some of the most epic, intense, earth-shattering cinematic experiences of all time. He's a beautiful madman who is blessed with many talents and cursed with many demons. Empty bottles and Oscars collect dust on this guy's shelf. Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson shot to fame as an action star in films like Mad Max and Lethal Weapon. But his talents didn't stop at acting. He gained even more acclaim as a director, especially for Braveheart, which won him multiple Oscars. Despite his success, his career has been clouded by controversy. Actor Mel Gibson rose to fame as the star of the Mad Max and Lethal Weapon film series, and later earned acclaim as the director of Braveheart, The Passion of the Christ, and Hacksaw Ridge, among other features. By the 1980s, Mel Gibson was internationally known for his starring roles in the Lethal Weapon series, and the following decade, he was recognized as an Academy Award-winning director for Braveheart. Gibson's standing as a bankable star suffered in the wake of his controversial comments and domestic abuse allegations in the 2000s, but he later rediscovered directing success with the Oscar-nominated Hacksaw Ridge. Early life. Mel Commissil Gerard Gibson was born on January 3, 1956 in Peekskill, New York. His family moved to Australia when he was young to avoid the Vietnam War draft. Raised in a strict Catholic household, Gibson grew up with 10 siblings and later attended a Catholic school in Sydney before studying acting at the National Institute of Dramatic Art. He was the sixth of 11 children of Hutton and Anne Gibson, Roman Catholics of Irish descent. Shortly after the onset of the Vietnam War, Hutton Gibson relocated his family to Australia for fear that his sons would be drafted into battle. Gibson spent the remainder of his childhood in Sydney, where he attended St. Leo's Catholic College, an all-boys Catholic high school. He finished his high school education at Asquith Boys High School in New South Wales, Australia. Following his graduation from Asquith, Gibson considered becoming a chef or journalist, but he ended up taking a different career path after his sister submitted an application on his behalf to the National Institute of Dramatic Art in Sydney. He decided to audition, and despite having no prior acting experience, he was accepted into the drama school. Not long after, Gibson made his stage debut in an NIDA production of Romeo and Juliet, and his screen debut in the low-budget film Summer City in 1977. Following his graduation from NIDA that same year, Gibson joined the Southern Australian Theatre Company, where he appeared in title roles in classical productions, including Oedipus and Henry IV. Mad Max and Lethal Weapon. Gibson's breakout role came in 1979 when he starred as the post-apocalyptic hero in Mad Max. The film was a massive success, making him an international star. His next major franchise, Lethal Weapon, in 1987, solidified his status as a Hollywood heavyweight, with his portrayal of the volatile cop Martin Riggs earning him critical and commercial success. After conquering the stage, Gibson tried his hand at television, landing his first role on the Australian series The Sullivans, 1976 to 1983. He graduated to mainstream cinema in 1979 with 2 film roles, as a futuristic warrior in Mad Max and as a mentally disabled man who falls in love with an older woman, played by Piper Laurie, in Tim. For his performance in the latter film, Gibson earned his first Australian Film Institute Award for Best Actor. Furthermore, Mad Max became the biggest commercial success of any Australian film to date, grossing more than $100 million worldwide. Gibson received his second AFI award, again for Best Actor, for his performance as a patriotic idealist in Peter Weir's 1981 World War drama Gallipoli. Later that same year, he reprised his role as the leather-clad hero in Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior, released in the United States as The Road Warrior in 1982. The film's success established Gibson as an international star. His second collaboration with Weir, The Year of Living Dangerously in 1982, featured the actor in his first romantic lead alongside Sigourney Weaver. Gibson's American film debut in 1984's The River was considered a success. The film earned 4 Academy Award nominations, including a Best Actress nod for Sissy Spacek. In 1985, Gibson returned to Australia to complete the Mad Max trilogy with Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, which also starred singer Tina Turner. Later that year, the actor's popularity was confirmed when he was featured on the cover of People magazine as the first ever sexiest man alive. After a brief hiatus, Gibson returned to the screen with the blockbuster hit Lethal Weapon in 1987, playing volatile cop Martin Riggs opposite Danny Glover, who portrayed by-the-book character Roger Murtaugh. The success of Lethal Weapon inspired 3 sequels: Lethal Weapon 2 in 1989, Lethal Weapon 3 in 1992, and Lethal Weapon 4 in 1998, all featuring Glover and Gibson in their respective roles as good cop and bad cop. Braveheart. In 1995, Mel Gibson took on his most ambitious project, directing and starring in Braveheart, a historical epic about Scottish hero William Wallace.
Tired of expensive, low-effort script writers for your YouTube channel? Autoscripter.ai is the ultimate solution. Say goodbye to low-quality, poorly retention amateur scripts that fail to generate thousands of views for your channel. At a fraction of the cost, Autoscripter.ai helps your videos go viral. In just 3 steps, Autoscripter.ai creates a polished script tailored to your needs. Just input your title concept, select your tone and style. The intuitive interface makes editing and refining effortless, fast, smart, and trusted by hundreds of satisfied users who have already discovered the amazing tool. Start your free trial today and watch Autoscripter.ai transform your YouTube channel. Just click the link in the video description below now.
The film went on to win 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director.
Well, like most directors, I suppose what I really want to do is act. But,
This solidified Gibson's place not only as a leading actor, but as a visionary filmmaker. In Franco Zeffirelli's Hamlet, 1990, Gibson gave a notable performance as the tormented prince. Hamlet also marked the first film produced by Gibson's newly formed production company, Icon Productions. Other productions by Icon include the 1994 Beethoven biopic Immortal Beloved and the 1997 remake of Leo Tolstoy's Anna Karenina. Gibson appeared in a few poorly received films in the early 1990s, including Air America in 1990 and The Sappy Forever Young in 1992. He made his feature directorial debut with the 1993 tearjerker The Man Without a Face, in which he also starred as a severely disfigured burn victim. Gibson released his most passionate project to date in 1995, directing and starring as 13th century Scottish nobleman Sir William Wallace in the medieval epic Braveheart. The film went on to triumph at the Oscars, winning top honors in 5 categories, including Best Picture and Best Director. Also in 1995, Gibson diversified his range of characters by providing the voice of John Smith in Disney's Pocahontas. In the late 90s, Gibson starred in a handful of crime thrillers, including 1996's Ransom with Rene Russo and Gary Sinise, 1997's Conspiracy Theory with Julia Roberts, and the independent film Payback in 1999. In 2000, the actor headlined the highly anticipated war saga The Patriot, in which he played a reluctant hero during the American Revolution. That same year, he starred in the romantic comedy What Women Want alongside Helen Hunt, Lauren Holly, and Bette Midler. In 2002, Gibson headlined another box office hit, M. Night Shyamalan's Signs, playing a rural Pennsylvania farmer whose life takes a drastic turn when 500-foot crop circles begin appearing in his cornfields. Passion and directing acclaim. In 2004, Gibson directed The Passion of the Christ, a controversial film depicting the final hours of Jesus Christ. While it sparked debates over its violent portrayal of the crucifixion, it was a box office hit. Gibson followed it up with Apocalypto 2006, a film set during the decline of the Mayan civilization, further cementing his directorial skills. Mel Gibson returned to the director's chair for his next project, an ambitious film about the final 12 hours of Jesus Christ's life entitled The Passion of the Christ in 2004. The unlikely blockbuster made headlines for its controversial adaptation of the crucifixion. A devout Catholic, Gibson stated at the time that the Holy Spirit was making the film through him. "I was just directing traffic," he said. Gibson's next historical epic, Apocalypto, released in December 2006, focused on the decline of the Mayan civilization and was filmed in Yucatec Maya language with subtitles. The film, which featured an indigenous cast of Mexican and Native American actors, was critically acclaimed and a box office success. Controversial remarks.
Anti-Semitism, homophobia, and a violent romantic relationship. Here's why Mel Gibson was blacklisted from Hollywood for years.
Gibson's success was overshadowed by his infamous 2006 DUI arrest, during which he made anti-Semitic remarks, saying, "Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world." This shocking outburst led to widespread backlash. Gibson later apologized, attributing his behavior to struggles with alcohol addiction. Actor and filmmaker Gibson sparked enduring backlash 17 years ago for his remarks. Perhaps most famously one made to a police officer in 2006 that Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world. Not long after filming The Passion, Gibson was accused of being both an anti-Semite and a racist. He'd pled no contest to the drunk driving charge in 2006, later admitting that he'd made anti-Semitic remarks during his arrest and openly acknowledging his battle with alcohol addiction. He was sentenced to 3 years of probation, including mandatory Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. In the years following the incident, Gibson kept a relatively low profile. He served as a producer on the 2008 PBS documentary Another Day in Paradise and as an executive producer on the related PBS miniseries Carrier. After years of directing and producing, Gibson stepped back in front of the camera for the 2010 thriller Edge of Darkness, starring as a police detective who investigates his daughter's death. While he secured a number of roles since then, including critically acclaimed ones leading to an Oscar nomination for his 2016 film Hacksaw Ridge, he appeared to struggle to wipe the slate clean entirely. News in 2021 that he would direct an upcoming Lethal Weapon movie was met with lingering criticism. In the face of this, The Passion of the Christ director Gibson has also been widely known in Hollywood to be committed to his faith, having been raised as a Sedevacanist traditionalist Catholic. Sedevacanists believe that since the death of Pope Pius XII in 1958, or in some cases the death of Pope John XIII in 1963, subsequent popes have neither been true Catholics nor true popes, but rather heretics because they espoused modernism. Gibson also has a self-built church in Malibu, California, called the Church of the Holy Family. It is not affiliated with the Roman Catholic Archdiocese. Perhaps in light of his documented devotion to his faith, claims have recently been shared that Gibson once accused members of a so-called Hollywood elite of torturing and murdering children before drinking their blood in satanic rituals. A post was shared on Twitter on March 2nd, attributing quotes to Gibson that describe the purported activities of an unnamed rich and powerful sect. Pedo Wood blacklisted Mel Gibson for speaking truth about Hollywood's perverted, satanic abominations, read the tweet, viewed more than 56,000 times. Included with the tweet is an image that shows a photo of Gibson beneath the heading, "What did he say?" The quotes attributed to Gibson read, "Worldwide, children are stolen and sold to pedophile rings. They're tortured, raped, and murdered as part of a satanic ritual ceremony. The murderers then drink the children's blood and they eat their flesh. The blood of children who were severely traumatized before they died contains adrenochrome, a natural drug produced by the pineal gland in the brain. Adrenochrome is the highest value drug in the world. The God these people serve is Satan. It's not the God of love and mercy," the quote concludes. As well as Twitter, the post has also been widely shared on Facebook. When the same image purporting to quote Gibson was posted on the platform days earlier, a Twitter user responded by posting an archive link to the real article with quotes on defunct website yournews.com. In the article, Gibson is reported as making the comments during an appearance on the UK program The Graham Norton Show. "I don't know how to break it to you gently. Hollywood is institutionalized pedophilia," he is quoted as saying. "They are using and abusing kids. They churn through a huge amount of kids every year. Their spiritual beliefs, if you can call them that, direct them to harvest the energy of the kids. They feast on this stuff and they thrive on it." In the article, he is further alleged to have said that the so-called Hollywood elites harvest the blood of children. They eat their flesh. They believe this gives them life force. If the child was suffering in body and psyche before it died, they believe this gives them extra life force. "Hollywood is drenched in the blood of innocent children," the quote continued. "For a long time, all the references to pedophilia and cannibalism were symbolic or elusive, but I was personally introduced to the practice in the early 2000s. I can talk about it now because these people, the execs, they're dead now." While the YouTube channel for The Graham Norton Show shared clips of Gibson's appearance on the BBC program back in 2017, there are no such allegations made by the actor of child abuse, murder, or blood drinking. A spokesperson for Gibson told Newsweek that the quotes attributed to the screen star are completely false, adding that he never said that or anything close to it. Further, the article appears to have served as the genesis of the persistent rumor is taken from a website that has been named by several reputable outlets as a prolific purveyor of misinformation and conspiracy theories. Backlash and comeback.
Now that we put them back in our heels and we got us a lull, I want you to attack. I want you to go in there and rescue that cut-off platoon. Out.
Following his controversial remarks, Gibson faced industry-wide backlash, with many in Hollywood cutting ties with him. For nearly a decade, he was blacklisted. However, in 2016, he staged a comeback with Hacksaw Ridge, a film that earned him another Oscar nomination for Best Director, showing Hollywood wasn't ready to completely write him off. He was once one of Hollywood's most bankable stars, an unrivaled A-lister who took hits like Braveheart and Lethal Weapon to the top of the box office charts. But since Mel Gibson's career was mired by a string of abusive incidents and vile anti-Semitic remarks, he's landed in an unofficial movie jail, with producers too anxious to go near him. Gibson's controversial statements resulted in him being blacklisted in Hollywood for almost a decade. His career fell apart with an arrest, some viciously racist comments, and a dwindling audience who no longer were interested in seeing him. He made a handful of films, and then The Beaver in 2011 was a startling reminder of his talents, and Hollywood started to pay attention again.
I love you.
Amid more leaked remarks that only worsened his situation as a Hollywood pariah, Gibson starred in the 2011 film The Beaver with Jodie Foster, playing a suicidal man who bonds with his hand puppet. However, the role failed to soften his image or restart his acting career, and Gibson returned to the action genre for his next 3 roles on the silver screen: Get the Gringo, 2012, Machete Kills, 2013, and The Expendables 3 in 2014. Gibson found himself back on the upswing in 2016 with Hacksaw Ridge, his first directing effort in 10 years. Based about a true story about a conscientious objector during World War II who saved 75 soldiers without shooting a single bullet, the film was a modest success at the box office, but earned Gibson Golden Globe and Oscar nominations for his direction. Continuing his return to prominent standing within the industry, Gibson appeared at the Academy Awards in February 2017, good-naturedly handling the barbs launched his way by host Jimmy Kimmel. Later that year, Gibson was due to appear alongside Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg, and John Lithgow in Daddy's Home 2, and also teased fans about the possibility of a 5th installment of Lethal Weapon. While it may be tempting to now call Gibson's comeback complete, the truth is that he never really went away following his DUI arrest 15 years ago, the one that made international headlines after Gibson hurled anti-Semitic, racist, and misogynistic comments at law enforcement officers. That's what happens in a Teflon town where true movie stars have become few and far between, and there's always a new celebrity scandal to distract from the last one. When they choose to do so, Hollywood can be very forgiving. Allegations resurface after Sound of Freedom release.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness. Go see Sound of Freedom.
In 2023, after the release of the film Sound of Freedom, which exposes child trafficking, claims resurfaced that Gibson had spoken out against Hollywood's involvement in similar activities. While Gibson supported the film, no direct connection was made between him and the allegations, though social media continued to spread rumors. Mel Gibson's claims in an interview about the evils of Hollywood have resurfaced online after the launch of the movie Sound of Freedom in early 2023. Gibson is known to be a supporter of the movie, filming a promotional push on social media encouraging people to see it. In the wake of the film's release, a 1998 interview featuring the actor discussing his shock at what Hollywood is like has gone viral. The new movie has had a tumultuous release, with moviegoers sharing their alleged experiences online of people being forced from their seats for various reasons and theaters having the air conditioning turned off. The film is based on Tom Ballard's life as he set out to fight child sex trafficking across the world. In the interview, he does not explicitly mention anything that directly links to the themes of Sound of Freedom, but movie producer and slightly offensive podcast host Elijah Schaefer connected the alleged dots between the two with a tweet he shared. Shocking, he begins before explaining what the attached video is. Mel Gibson, Sound of Freedom, is the real deal. Warned about the evils of Hollywood in 1998. Predicted how they'd turn on him. Alludes to actors being actual demons. He knows something very dark and wants to expose it. The seriousness in his voice is chilling, Schaefer wrote. Schaefer puts Sound of Freedom in brackets after Gibson's name in the tweets, which suggests he was involved in the film some way. However, the actor has only been seen promoting the movie on social media, but otherwise is not believed to be involved. Gibson begins by explaining how he had weird, paranoid suspicions about Hollywood when he arrived. You go away and you think, no, I was wrong. That's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagine that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so is acting like that, could it? And then you find out later down the track that you were exactly on track with a lot of this stuff, he said. That some of your worst nightmares were real at the time. And you think. Gibson then makes a shocked face. He also speaks at length about expecting to be betrayed in Hollywood, using a graphic metaphor about a knife going in his back. Gibson then tells a story about a celebrity coming to meet him with a cold presence who walked through a crowd of people towards him, making Gibson nervous. It is unclear who he is talking about at first, until Gibson finishes his story with, and I thought, oh no, Chris Walken is the Antichrist, you know? The Twitter video finishes with a clip of Gibson discussing needing a cockroach resilience to survive in this town. Website Snopes included a full transcript of the entire Hollywood Conversation episode, which includes key context for some of Gibson's quotes that are used in the tweet that went viral. Gibson has endured a tempestuous time in Hollywood, reaching highs with 2 Academy Award wins, but also hitting lows, such as his arrest and drunken anti-Semitic rant in July 2006. He's also faced false claims, as a Newsweek fact check learned when people erroneously credit him with saying Hollywood elites drank children's blood. The seriousness in his voice is chilling. It was also wrongly claimed by thousands online recently that Gibson was working with Ballard, the founder of the anti-child trafficking group Operation Underground Railroad, to create a 4-part documentary series about a global ring. Gibson's representatives told Newsweek that this was not true, despite the rumors. Personal life. Gibson's personal life has been just as turbulent as his professional one. He married Robin Moore in 1980, and they had 7 children before divorcing in 2009. Shortly after, he had a highly publicized relationship with Russian singer Oksana Grigorieva, which ended with allegations of domestic abuse. Gibson has since had another child with his current partner, Rosalind Ross. In 1980, Gibson married Robin Moore. The couple had 7 children together before filing for divorce in 2009. Shortly after his divorce proceedings began, Gibson began dating Russian singer Oksana Grigorieva. The couple had their first child shortly before splitting in 2010. Gibson came under investigation for domestic abuse soon after their separation, with taped phone conversations of the actor spouting racial slurs and admitting to hitting Grigorieva surfacing on the internet.
I don't work around in tight clothes. I stay at home for most of the time.
Public, and it's a embarrassment to me. You look like a unheat, and if you get raped by a pack, it's your fault. All right? Because you provoked it. You are provocatively dressed all the time with your fake boobs. You feel you have to show off in tight outfits and tight pants and stuff. You see your from behind. And that green thing today was enough.
Gibson admitted to slapping Grigorieva once with an open palm, but refuted her claim that he'd punched her numerous times. During the 2011 trial, Gibson pled no contest to a misdemeanor charge of domestic violence. He was sentenced to 3 years probation, 1 year of domestic violence counseling and community service, in addition to several fines. As a result, Gibson was denounced by Hollywood colleagues and dropped by his agency, William Morris Endeavor Entertainment. In September 2016, Gibson's rep confirmed that the actor's girlfriend of 2 years, Rosalind Ross, was pregnant. In January 2017, Ross gave birth to Gibson's 9th child, son Lars Gerard. The 9 Hollywood Lives of Mel Gibson. Despite the many controversies and career hurdles, Mel Gibson has managed to remain relevant in Hollywood. Whether it's through his acting, directing, or stirring up headlines, he's proven to be a figure who refuses to be written off. With new projects lined up, including a Lethal Weapon sequel,
Have a nice day.
it seems Hollywood still hasn't seen the last of Gibson. While Will Smith timidly returned to public life, keeping a low profile and apologizing for the umpteenth time for slapping Chris Rock during the Oscars, Mel Gibson has just released his 6th feature film of 2022. Despite being accused of abuse and racism on numerous occasions, his career hasn't slowed down. Gibson's latest film, On the Line, has been a critical and commercial failure. But that doesn't seem to bother him. He's already preparing to direct and star in the 5th installment of the Lethal Weapon franchise, scheduled to be released next year on HBO Max. Gibson has also signed up to star in a prequel to the John Wick saga. From the late 1990s until the mid-2000s, Gibson's alcohol-fueled temper dragged him along a trail of self-destruction. He admitted to having assaulted Oksana Grigorieva, the mother of his 8th child, and, on a leaked audio recording, was heard threatening to kill her. He also made slurs against black people on another recording. In 2006, he was arrested for drunk driving, making anti-Semitic comments to the officers while they handcuffed him. A police surveillance camera captured his entire tirade for the world to see. Despite being on the receiving end of a reputational bludgeoning, Gibson was determined to make his way back to the spotlight. He took whatever role was offered. Few prominent actors or directors were initially willing to work with him. But he wouldn't be doing cheap flicks forever. Several Hollywood observers predicted that, eventually, Gibson would be back in high-budget productions with aspirations for another Oscar. In Vulture, journalist Kevin Lincoln wrote, For the right people, the Academy can be an incredibly forgiving bunch. Despite spending decades in exile to escape a rape conviction, Roman Polanski won Best Director at the 2003 Oscars to huge applause at the ceremony. Gibson's powerful friends helped rehabilitate him. In the extensive profile dedicated to him by Vanity Fair in 2011, film historian Peter Biskind pointed out that some of the Hollywood types who were, and still are, close to Gibson, Jodie Foster, Whoopi Goldberg, Robert Downey Jr., or his partner in Lethal Weapon, Danny Glover, managed to get him work a few years after his DUI arrest. Foster gave him a leading role in her psychological drama The Beaver in 2011. When questioned about her casting choice, she said that Gibson was the man she most loved in the film world and denied that he was racist or sexist. For his part, Downey Jr., at an award ceremony in Los Angeles in 2011, asked for public forgiveness on behalf of the actor, because whoever is free from sin is in the wrong industry. Gibson was also very supportive of the Iron Man actor when he was being treated for addiction. In an article co-written with fellow journalist Ben Fritz, Schwartzel wondered why Hollywood had decided to pardon Gibson. Money certainly seems to have played a part. Ari Emanuel, who dropped Gibson after his anti-Semitic tirade, eventually reconciled with his former client, but only after Gibson gave another star he represents, Mark Wahlberg, a role in the 2022 comedy Father Stu. The Me Too movement, shockingly, has also helped bolster Gibson's public image. In 2017, during a press conference to promote the comedy Daddy's Home, alongside Will Ferrell and Wahlberg, Gibson answered a question about Harvey Weinstein, which was well received by audiences shocked by revelations about the serial sex abuser who had controlled much of Hollywood for the past 30 years. My heart goes out to the victims. I'm glad they spoke up. A lot of light has been shed on places where there were shadows. That's something healthy. He described hearing about the abuses as painful. As of 2022, Gibson has also offered to testify against Weinstein at ongoing rape trials. The last significant controversy that the star was involved in took place in 2021, when he saluted former President Donald Trump at a boxing match. His action was widely cheered by far-right media. Mel had 3 acting releases in 2023 and is set for 2 more in 2024, plus a rumored 3rd. He returned to directing by partnering with Mark Wahlberg for Flight Risk. We love the undeniable electric pairing of Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg. These world-class talents, combining for this dynamic, character-driven film, will make Flight Risk one of the most suspense-filled, must-see events of the year. Joe Drake, Lionsgate movie chairman, told Deadline. Thanks for watching. If this video caught your attention, you'll definitely want to check out our deep dive into more Hollywood scandals and untold stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content. See you in the next video.